Still to come from Galway, a story not everyone wants told. But first, we're back in time and underground in the capital.
We've all heard of the Liffey, but Dublin is awash with rivers.
Last night, the River Liffey and the River Dodder burst their banks, adding to the chaos in the capital.
Some of Dublin's rivers, like the Dodder, are still very much in the news, but others like the Braddock, the Swan and the Stein have all but vanished. But nothing quite matches the treatment dished out to Dublin's most important forgotten river.
Locked behind a metal gate, concreted over and ignored by the thousands that pass along the quays every day. It's time we put the Poddle back on the map.
Dublin grew up where the Poddle meets the Liffey. Why? Well, at this point, the Liffey is tidal, so the water is salty and undrinkable. Without the Poddle's clean water, Dublin simply couldn't have expanded.
The second reason the Poddle was crucial to the growth of the capital was defensive. And that's why I'm off to Dublin Castle.
Because in times gone past, the Poddle used to form part of the moat surrounding Dublin Castle. And the man who knows more than anyone about the Poddle and its true historical significance is Michael Corcoran. Michael, we're here at Ship Street. Give me the line of the Poddle.
Comes up Ship Street, south to north, turns a right angle through the Ship Street gate, goes down this roadway here, past the Birmingham Tower, turns left into the lower yard, and goes down as far as just inside the Palace Street gate where it bifurcates.
Oh, yes.
There's one branch goes to the left. And it
so there's like two Poddles almost.
So there are two Poddles there. Now the main line goes across Palace Street and under the Olympia Theatre and heads on towards Essex Street. The other one rejoins it just at the Project Theatre.
Around the back of the theatre.
Around the back of the theatre. And the recombined Poddle, if you like to call it that, heads on and comes out at the grating under the Clarence Hotel in Wellington Quay.
I mean, this river kind of joins Dublin Castle, the Olympia, Temple Bar. It really kind of, it's the river of old Dublin, isn't it?
It is absolutely the river of old Dublin. The amount of history in the Poddle it's incalculable, obviously.
Tell me the connection between the Poddle and how Dublin got its name.
Well, it's from a pool on the river that Dublin got its name, Dublin. It was a black pool, and it was probably where the Vikings berthed their ships in earlier times.
Right.
And it's still there as Dublin on the map, and that was translated into English.
So is that
just around the corner?
Oh, let's have a look. This is where the Dublin was.
This was it. If we were 1,000 years ago,
we'd be walking on water.
Walking on water, exactly.
So, what would I have seen 1,000 years ago if I was out here?
Well, obviously here you would have seen a lot of Viking ships. You would have had them drawn up to various jetties, perhaps even beached, and you'd have fellows who were repairing the masts or repairing the sails, people loading and unloading the goods, because it's very often forgotten that the Vikings were traders rather than raiders, and they would have brought an awful lot of goods in and out here.
So this is really the commercial part of Dublin?
Oh, very much so. This is the equivalent of the IFSC today.
For around 1,000 years, Dubliners have used, abused and regimented the Poddle. The Dublin was filled in, and the river went from being a clear stream to being little more than an open sewer. And the Poddle was then concreted over, driven underground and forgotten.
But sometimes the Poddle likes to remind us it's still very much alive.
Yesterday, a garden literally disappeared into the River Poddle. The river runs underneath the front wall of about 20 houses. And today, 2 more gardens collapsed, and corporation workers had to move in to remove soil to avoid flooding.
But usually, the only way to see the Poddle these days is in the company of the Dublin City Council Drainage Department.
Well, this is the River Poddle, and it's only one leg of the River Poddle that comes from Carter's Cross, Kennymuir.
So where are we now, Dave?
We're at Little Ship Street, and we're heading towards Dublin Castle. So this area that we're in, you'll see by the roof the old brickwork, it's lasting, its distance regarding its age, the brickwork.
Looks great. I'm looking at these stone walls here. Are these the boundary walls of Dublin Castle, the very roots of the walls of Dublin Castle?
These are the foundations of the upper buildings.
This is the junction, isn't it?
This is the junction that's on the maps and the old maps. This is where the river split. They help one another and they both lead to Dame Street area. We went over a difficult patch back there, but
yes.
for that we'll take the easy route, which will take us to Bad Bob's at the back of the Olympia Theatre.
These tunnels really vary, don't they, from low to high to narrow to wide to everything?
They do, Robert. On a journey gone by, there was high routes and we're coming into an area now that an attempted robbery existed back in the early 80s.
Oh yeah? Just around here, is it?
Well, yeah, this is Dame Street now we're at.
Is this the actual wall they tried to demolish to get into the bank, Dave?
This is the wall that they had bored out to try and gain entry.
So this tunnel was used for escaping from Dublin Castle in the past, was it?
It was, Robert. Rescue O'Donnell and his team was mentioned, and maybe people that we'll never hear of escaped through this route. This is the final leg out onto the north part of the Liffey.
Whereabouts are we?
Well, this is the South Keys area, where below the Clarence Hotel that Bonner on his band.
Has he ever been down here, do you think?
I don't think so. We're near the rack system now that catches all the branches of trees, timbers. We'll see Liffey flow there at low level.
You can really hear it, yeah.
And it has been a brilliant day.
It's a great little magic little place here, isn't it?
Well, it's hidden treasure.
Having travelled along the Poddle from Dublin Castle as far as the Liffey, you really have to have a lot of respect for the river, because without it, Dublin wouldn't be the city it is today.